Hey guys, Shane the Man here, and today I'm back with another recipe. This time we're going all the way back to Louisiana again to give you another one of those recipes I grew up on. This time it's going to be the best shrimp Creole you've ever had in your life. So let's get to it. Alright guys, so as always, I'm going to go ahead and start off with giving you all the ingredients that you're going to need for this recipe. So, we're going to need, first off, 1 can of tomato paste, and I just used one of those little 8-ounce cans is all you're going to need. I had some left over here from a bigger can, so I'm going to use this. It's about right, but if you go to the store and get one of those little tiny skinny cans, that's about all you're going to need. And you're going to need about 3 of these cans here of tomato sauce. These are about 15 ounces here. Alright, next of course, since it's going to be a nice shrimp Creole, you're going to need the shrimp. Now, I would prefer to use fresh shrimp, but I didn't get to the store and I had some of this already in the freezer. If you want to use fresh shrimp, it's even better. But this shrimp's pretty good as well. This one's already, it's raw and tail off. Just make sure it's raw. If you want to use any, you can have it peeled, unpeeled, peel it yourself, whatever you want. Just make sure it's raw. And about 3 to 5 pounds. I have 3 pounds today. If you want to add more shrimp, add more shrimp. If not, that's cool. We're going to need 1 of these onions here. This is fairly large. I'm going to use this whole thing. So about a medium to a large yellow onion. We're going to need green onions. And I'm probably going to use about half of this bunch here. We're going to need some parsley. And what I have here is some Italian flat leaf parsley. I'm probably going to use 2 tablespoons of this. We're going to need 3 large potatoes. If you have smaller potatoes, of course, just use some more. Again, put more if you want more. If you want a little bit less, put some less. Or you can even leave them out if you want to. I prefer to have them in there because I like the texture and I like the feel of them. That's how my mom did it. But, again, you don't have to have any. And then we're going to need bay leaves. And we're going to use about 2 or 3 of these bay leaves. Salt, pepper to taste. And also, additionally, we're going to need about 2 tablespoons of vegetable oil or olive oil, whatever kind of oil you like. I'm going to use olive oil. And then a few tablespoons of some all-purpose flour. And about 1 tablespoon of sugar. So that's it, guys. So let's go ahead and start chopping these up. I'm going to chop up my seasonings first. And I'm going to show you what we're going to do next with that. We're going to get everything ready and we'll be right back. Alright guys, so first thing we're going to do is we're going to add our oil to the pan. So I have about 2 tablespoons of the olive oil in here. If you want to use vegetable oil or whatever kind of your favorite oil is, that's fine. We're going to go ahead and add the tomato paste along with the sugar and the flour. So again, like I said, this is about a 8-ounce little can of tomato paste. Just add that right into your pot. Alright, there's my tomato paste in there. I'm going to go ahead and add in the 1 tablespoon of sugar. And the reason we put the sugar in there is to cut out some of the bitterness of the tomato paste. Don't put a whole lot. This is going to be a good bit of Creole here, so just put about a tablespoon of sugar. It's good enough for getting away some of the bitterness and some of the tang of the tomato paste. Alright, and now I'm going to go ahead and put in all the parsley, the green onions that we talked about, as well as the onions. Just going to throw it all up in there. Just like that. Turn it around, get my onions. Now this may seem like a lot of vegetables and stuff, but it's going to all cook down into this Creole and it's going to be great. Give it a lot of flavor. Some people might like to put some green bell pepper in here as well, and that's fine. As with all Louisiana cooking, it's kind of depends on your taste. There's all kinds of different ways to do it. Everybody's mama and everybody's grandma did it a different way. So this is just how my mama did it, and this is how I'm gonna do it. So if you want to add something else or improvise to make it good to your taste, then please do. And we're just gonna turn this on to about a medium heat and let these sweat down. Let the vegetables and the onions and everything get all nice and translucent and mixed around with the oil and the tomato paste. And then we'll come back and show you what we're going to do with the rest of the ingredients. Also, while this is cooking down, I'm going to go ahead and peel and chop up those 3 large potatoes that we had from the ingredient list there, just to save a little time. And I'm just going to let these get all nice and incorporated and cook down. Let the veggies get all translucent and yummy. I'm going to go ahead and throw those 3 bay leaves that we have from the ingredient list in here as well. Let those start releasing their flavors into the mix. And then once these are cooked down and ready for the next step, I'll come right back. Alright guys, so as you can see, it's kind of cooked down a bit. We got the onions and the green onions and everything all nice and translucent. What I'm going to do now is go ahead and sprinkle in those 2 tablespoons of that all-purpose flour. And this is going to help thicken our Creole later. I want to sprinkle it in now so it doesn't really turn into dumplings later. If you want to, you can also kind of mix it with some water or some broth or something like that, make like a little slurry. But this works out fine as long as you put it in right now while some of the ingredients are still not so liquidy. As you can see, it's already thickening up good. You want to make sure you continue to stir it because that tomato sauce will burn easy and you don't want it to stick and burn. So now I got the flour in there. I'm going to go ahead and add in the 3 cans of tomato sauce, one at a time, so I can mix them around nicely and get it incorporated. And again, so it doesn't burn. And again, you don't want to put your fire too high on your stove. You don't want the heat too high. So I keep it about, right now it's like a medium low. Just enough to saute the onions and get everything nice and warm. We'll turn it up a little bit later, but I really just don't want this tomato sauce to burn because it'll get a scorched flavor and ruin the whole flavor of the dish. And add another can now. Right there, like so. And I'm going to keep these cans. I'm not going to throw these out just yet because I'm going to use them to add in about 3 cans worth of water as well to bulk up the Creole a little bit. But that'll happen in a minute. I'm going to let this cook down with the tomato sauce and the onions and the green onions and everything for about, let's say about 10 minutes or so. And then I'll add some water in here. And the reason I'm going to do that is to let the flour have time to incorporate evenly and have all the vegetables and everything incorporate evenly with the tomato sauce we just put in. Alright, so now that's been cooking and simmering for about, it's maybe been a little bit less than 10 minutes now. I'm a little bit impatient today. We'll go ahead and add those 3 cans of water like I said. And it may look a little bit watery, but you know, once we cook it down, it's going to thicken up a little bit. And then when we put the potatoes in later, it's really going to thicken up quite a bit. It's going to be kind of like a soup consistency, but it's, I don't know, shrimp Creole. It's going to be able to put it over top of white rice, but it's not going to be so thick to where, you know, you want to eat it with a fork. And like I said, again, I'm putting in 3 cans of this water. That's why I saved the tomato sauce cans. So if you really want the measurement, you got 45 ounces of water. And there's the last can. Alright, now we have all of our water incorporated in there. I'm going to turn the heat up just a little bit, and I'm going to cook this for probably 45 minutes to an hour. You just keep an eye on it and stir it every now and then. What we want to do is reduce some of that water down a little bit and let all the flavors incorporate into this soup. And then we'll come back after that and I'll show you how it looks. And then I'll give you an update kind of on exactly how much time it took me for this batch. It's going to depend and it's going to change every time depending on exactly where your heat is and the moisture of the stuff you added, how much water, how much vegetables, whatever it was you want to use. So, like I said, I'm probably going to cook this for about 40 minutes. I'll come back and check it out. So, it's already smelling good. So, anyway, like I said, I'll turn the heat up to a good simmer. I'm going to let it kind of bubble and simmer. Not quite a boil, but you do want it to be simmering and kind of get off some of that excess moisture. But we'll be back. Alright, and so it's been probably about 45 minutes now. As you can see, the broth, tomato sauce, and everything is thickened up quite a bit. If you lift up some of this out of here, the veggies and the onions and everything are broken down nicely and kind of incorporated in here. They're all nice and soft, and they're not too big of crunchy chunks or anything like that. Now, what I'm going to do is go ahead and throw in those potatoes. Like I said earlier, I went ahead and cubed them up, peeled them and cubed them. I'll go ahead and throw these in here. Be careful you don't splash this hot liquid all over you. Hear that? Let's stir these around a little bit. And I'm going to let these cook. I don't need them to cook all the way right now. But I'm going to let these cook quite a bit until they're just a little bit tender. Just get this cooking started. And then I'm going to come back and add some more ingredients later. Again, also, at this point, you can go ahead and add salt and pepper to taste. I usually am probably going to put about maybe a tablespoon of salt and maybe a tablespoon of pepper in here. But just to your liking. Just give it a little taste and see how it goes. And I'm probably going to let this cook for probably another 5 or 10 minutes before I come back and add some more ingredients in there. Alright, so we'll be right back. Remember, you want to keep stirring this every now and then just to keep the bottom from sticking and burning, because you don't want that scorched flavor. But we'll be back. Alright, and now it's been probably about 10 or so minutes. Potatoes are starting to get a little bit soft. They're not quite cooked all the way through. What I'm going to do now is go ahead and throw my shrimp in. Again, like I said, about 3 to 5 pounds to your liking. I got about 3 pounds of shrimp here. These don't take very long to cook, but you also want the flavor from the shrimp to start incorporating into the Creole. And I'm going to just go ahead and dump all these in there like that. And stir them in there really good. And cook it just until the potatoes are tender. Probably take, I don't know, depending on the size and how many potatoes you got, it could take another 10 minutes or so. Just keep coming and checking them, poking them with a fork. Once they're fork tender, then you're done. And you'll have your shrimp Creole, and we'll come back and check it out. Once it's all done, we'll plate it up, give it a taste, and I promise you, you try this recipe, you'll want to do it over and over and over again. But we'll let this cook up, and then we'll be back. Oh yeah, and there you have it, some nice shrimp Creole. I let it simmer till the shrimp are nice and cooked through, but not too much, because if you let it cook too much, they'll get really tough and rubbery. Now the potatoes are tender to the fork there, just nice, and I just plated it over top of some nice white rice. Now let's get to tasting this. Oh man, I can tell this is going to be good already. One of the things I love about Louisiana food is there's all kinds of different flavors and different cultures that are mixed together to make the food so awesome. Creole food is a lot more tomato based, but it's super yum. You know, you have the crawfish Creole, shrimp Creole, etouffees and things like that. So good, it's so flavorful. And it's really not that hard to make. It takes a little bit to simmer on the stove, but the ingredients are simple, the preparation is simple, and the flavor is oh so good. So let's check this out and try it. Get a little bit of this potato here. You see it's nice and fork tender. Soaks up so much of that tomato flavor, and then you get a little hint of the shrimp in the back. Shrimp's tender, not too rubbery. You get it. Nice shrimp flavor, nice and fresh with the tomato base. You can have this with some good garlic bread, or even just some bread and butter, or whatever you like. But I hope you guys try this. Please, if you do, leave some comments down below. Let me know how it came out for you. I love these Cajun recipes. They always are so good and remind me of my childhood. Please leave some comments. Hit that thumbs up button. Subscribe if you haven't to see some more awesome videos. But click right here to subscribe. Click over here to see some more of my videos. As always, guys, thanks for watching. I love you, and I'll see you next time.
Is it recording?